Why do you build me up? Buttercup, baby, just to let me down and mess me around, and the worst of all.
What is going on, guys? I am back with a review of a day at an amusement park. Finally, it's been so long, and this time we will be discussing July 8th at Dorney Park, since that was the first day that Dorney was open to season pass holders. And so that was a lit day, and so today I will be talking about how that day was and what the layout of our day was. And so anyways, now let's just get started. So Iby and I first got to the park. We went through the temperature screening, which was really easy, and then we entered the park like usual, and then we were gonna ride Talon for our first ride of the day, but then it closed. So then we went to Hydra instead for our first ride of the day, and that was a good first ride on Hydra for the season. And Iby was singing Mr. Brightside in the Cobra role, and plus it was in the back row of Hydra. And you guys, Hydra is a backseat ride. It is so amazing in the backseat of Hydra. Like, you should try to get the backseat if you ever get around to riding Hydra in your lives. And so anyways, after we rode Hydra and got that really good funny backseat ride on it, we headed to Enterprise, and it felt so good to be back on it. And then after Enterprise, we headed to Music Express, which was an okay ride on it. I mean, it had a short ride cycle and unknown music, so I don't know if that was a good or bad ride on Music Express. I mean, Music Express is a good family ride, but we had a short ride cycle and unknown music, so I don't know. And so, anyways, after that, I don't know what ride on Music Express. We headed to Apollo, and it started raining a bit while we were riding Apollo. And so, anyways, after we got off of Apollo, we thought Dominator was open, but then it was closed. So then we headed to Monster, where we got some really good air. It was the best ride we've ever had on Monster. At first, we were underrating it since we weren't really spinning and stuff. But then we started spinning a lot and getting some good air, and this is how Monster should have been operating years ago. That's what me and Iby were saying after that ride on Monster. It was just that good. And so anyways, after that best ride on Monster we had ever had, we were mourning by Possessed for a bit, and the reason why we were mourning by it is because it's going to be closed for the entire season, you guys, which is so sad that my favorite coaster at my home park, I'm not even going to get to ride this year. And so, anyways, after we mourned by Possessed and did some sad antics, we headed to Possession's shop because that surprisingly was open, and I didn't get anything in there. It was just to, like, walk around, goof around, look at the stuff. And so, anyways, after Iby and I were done doing that, it was raining while we were doing that, but after Iby and I were done doing that, we walked around the park for a bit, and then we went to Chickies and Pete's for lunch, and where I got a cheesesteak and Iby got a chicken cheesesteak, I'm sure. We both got cheesesteaks, I'm sorry. And so, anyways, when me and Iby got our cheesesteaks, no tables were open, so then we had to stand and eat, which was really awkward. And so, anyways, after our meal at Chickies and Pete's, we ran to the ice cream place where Burrito Cantina once was, and we waited there for the rain to stop. And when we got there, I realized that I had gotten cheese sauce all over the shirt I was wearing that day. And so, anyways, I went to the restroom by Thunder Creek Mountain to wipe it off. And so after that, we continued waiting for something to open and for the rain to stop. And so after a while, we decided to just walk around the park in case something opens, And so anyways, sure enough, while we were walking around the park, we saw that the whip was open. Hallelujah! 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 And so anyways, we got on the whip and we were having so much fun on it. We were totally letting loose. And so anyways, after that ride on the whip, we walked around the park for a little more, and even waited by steel force for a period of time. And so, anyways, during that same time period when we were walking around the park, I completed my first ever ride on Zephyr. It was amazing, guys. Like, it provided great views of the lower midway, and Iby was able to get some really good pictures from Zephyr, but I wasn't because I didn't want to risk sticking my phone out and like losing it to get a good picture from Zephyr. But Evie got a lot of good pics from Zephyr, and I got a few too of stuff. And so, anyways, after that ride on Zephyr, we headed to Scrambler since we saw that it was open when we were on Zephyr. And so, anyways, we went in line for Scrambler, and while we were in line, Steel Force started testing. That was the best thing ever. And so, anyways, we ran out of line for Scrambler, and we started running the Steel Force, and some kids saw us, and I believe they said they'd race us to Steel Force. At least that's what it seemed like. But the kids ended up running the opposite direction and never ran to Steel Force like us. And so, anyways, after we ran to Steel Force and saw a few test cycles, it reopened, which was hallelujah once again. And so, anyways, we got like a middle row ride on Steel Force. I mean, we were aiming for back, but their operator was saying pretty much to take any other open row because of the coronavirus thing. And so, anyways, after that middle row ride on Steel Force, EB was desperate for a backseat ride on Steel Force. I mean, we didn't get the back the first time, not because the operator said so, but people had already taken the back row, and it was kind of because of the corona thing. But anyways, EB was desperate for a backseat ride on Steel Force after that middle row ride we had on it, because we were talking about it all before opening day. And so, anyways, we went in line and got a backseat ride on it. We had to wait behind the tape for a little bit because of the virus thing, but it was worth it. And so, anyways, we got that back row ride on Steel Force that we wanted. And so, anyways, after that, we headed to Revolution, and we got the high side, thank goodness. And then after Revolution, it started raining, so EB went on the Dorney app to see which rides were open, and he saw that Dodgem was open, and he was like, yeah, we should just do that. And so then we rode Dodgem, which was really good, and we ended up riding it 3 times in a row because the rain just wouldn't stop. In fact, people were even allowed to stay on the ride the first time, but we didn't take advantage of that for some weird reason. And while we were on Dodgem, we saw a worker from King's Dominion operating Dodgem, and in fact, we saw so many workers from King's Dominion helping out at Dorney on July 8th, which was lit. And so, anyways, after those 3 rides in a row we had on Dodgem, we waited in the locker area for a bit, and while EBU checked to see which rides were open, and I wanted to go on none of them. Although I do kind of wish I had taken we had taken advantage of Cedar Creek Flyers. I kind of wish that now, but it doesn't matter. We'll get on it sooner. And so, anyways, we wanted to wait by the restroom for a bit before for the rain to stop, because Iby and I really had to go number 6. And so, anyways, we waited by the restroom for the rain to stop, which seemed like a long time. We were really talking about how we really wanted to get back on Talon, because that was a high hope at that time. And so, anyways, eventually we just wanted to wait by Talon since the rain was slowing down, which was a good thing. And so, anyways, we waited for quite a bit by Talon, and we saw that another worker from another Cedar Fair park went in the queue line for it. I don't know if it was, I think it was King's Dominion. Yeah, it was definitely from King's Dominion. And we had a conversation with her about about which parks we were from. She asked which parks we were from because she saw that I was wearing my Canada's Wonderland shirt that day. And same with that guy at Dodgem. He asked me how was Leviathan and all this stuff, and I said it was good. And so, anyways, the reason the woman asked us which parks we were from is because she saw that I was wearing my Canada's Wonderland shirt. And so, anyways, I had to tell her we were from around where Dorney was, and that Dorney is our home park, obviously. And so, anyways, we had a good conversation with that worker, and she's actually an enthusiast too. Same with the worker at Dodgem. And so, anyways, we saw a few test cycles on Talon, and we started getting really excited in front of her, and that's how the conversation started, because she was like, "Are you guys roller coaster junkies?" And we were like, "Yes," and all this stuff, and we were talking about parks, And so, anyways, Talon opened then, and we were actually able to choose to sit in the front row of Talon, which was absolutely lit. And so, anyways, after that front row ride on Talon we had after the rain stopped, we wanted to get a back row ride on it, but then the operator ended up assigning row 4 to us because they're assigning seats on Talon now because of the coronavirus, so we had to sit in row 4 because of that. And so, anyways, as we went in the brake run on our row 4 ride on Talon, we saw that a train was stuck in a lift hill. So the operator sent the train we were on back in the station, and then after that, the operator announced to everyone in the queue that Talon was going to be suspending operations for an unspecified amount of time because a train was stuck on the lift hill. So we struck gold by getting on Talon 2 times right before this whole thing happened with it. And so, anyways, after that row 4 ride on Talon, we decided to ride Wave Swinger, and that is where we noticed they took out a lot of the seats on Wave Swinger to promote social distancing, which the Wave Swinger looked really weird with so few seats on it, but that's something we're gonna have to get used to. So, but at least we saw that it got a nice repaint at the top. You guys probably saw it in the vlog when I pointed it out when we were in line for Kaleidoscope. And so, anyways, we rode Wave Swinger, and then that was a good ride on it. And then after that, we headed to Kaleidoscope, and that was a good ride on that. And so, anyways, after Kaleidoscope, we headed to Hydra for a front row ride on it. And so we've got both a back row ride and a front row ride on Hydra in one day. It's amazing, guys. And so, anyways, we got a front row ride on Hydra, and I have to agree with Iby. It's kind of slow in the front. Like I said earlier in this video, Hydra is a backseat ride, you guys. I highly encourage you to ride it in the back if you do end up getting around to riding Hydra in your lives. And so, anyways, we got a front row ride in on Hydra, and while we were in line for that, we saw that Dominator had reopened both towers, and so we got a ride. So after our front row ride on Hydra, we got a ride in on Dominator Green, because I originally wanted to go on Red first, but then we saw that they were letting people on Dominator Green, because Dominator has a weird system where they only let people on one tower at a time, because there's only one worker at all the workers at one tower. And so, anyways, we went on Dominator Green, and then we tried to go on Dominator Red, and it was successful because the worker unfortunately ended up going back to Dominator Red. And so, anyways, we even saw King's Dominion employees helping out at Dominator, which was crazy. Both towers they were helping out at. And so, anyways, those were good rides on Dominator Green and on Dominator Red. And on Dominator Red, I was having a good time, and I got the best airtime I have ever gotten on any drop tower. Oh my god, guys, that was the best airtime I'd ever gotten on a drop tower. And when I say that, I mean even crazier than the Hershey's Kisses Tower at Hershey Park. And so that was the craziest airtime I had gotten on a drop tower before this ride on Dominator Red. And the now Dominator Red on July 8th holds that position. Congratulations, airtime on Dominator Red on July 8th. You beat Hershey's Kisses Tower airtime. And so, anyways, after those rides on Dominator, we headed to Demon Drop, where we especially saw lots of King's Dominion employees helping out, which was absolutely crazy. And so, anyways, one of them asked me if I was from Canada's Wonderland because I was wearing my Canada's Wonderland shirt, and I had to tell them no, and that Dorney's my home park, and they were like, oh, okay, and then while we were on the ride, the King's Dominion employee that was helping out complimented on my shirt and asked me which one was better between Leviathan and Behemoth, and I said Leviathan, and the other employee was like, no, Behemoth is actually better, and they were arguing, and yeah, so anyways, after that ride on Demon Drop, that was the fastest ride we've ever had on Demon Drop, you guys, like, if you didn't hear it in the vlog, that was the fastest ride we've ever had on Demon Drop, like, oh my gosh. And so, anyways, after that really fast ride on Demon Drop, we went on Thunderhawk, and that was a good ride-in on that. We got the front row, which was lucky. And so, anyways, after Thunderhawk, we got a ride-in on Scrambler, which we got out of line for because Steel Force had started testing, and so we made sure to get a ride-in on Scrambler after Thunderhawk, and so after Scrambler, we headed to Steel Force for a front row ride on that, and Iby had not done Steel Force in the front row in a long time, and neither had I, so this was a great experience for the both of us. And so anyways, after that front row ride on Steel Force, we headed to Burger Barn, where where I got a cheeseburger, but no cheese was on it, and that's the same with Iby. He ordered a cheeseburger, but no cheese was on it. Like, why is it called a cheeseburger with no cheese? Like, I don't know who invented that. And so, anyways, while we were eating our cheeseburgers with no cheese, we ran into Dorney Dave, who had gotten there late. And so, anyways, that was a highlight of our day. And we ran into him before when we were heading to Steel Force, and I said hi to him, and then Dorney was like, hey, Dorney Dave was like, hey guys, you're enjoying the park? And I was like, yes, and then Iby was like, yes, we were able to get on everything we wanted to, and so Dorney Dave went about his day while we went on Steel Force, and so anyways, what I'm saying is we ran into him again while we were eating at Burger Barn, which was a highlight for me that we ran into Dorney Dave twice, and we actually met him the first time we ran into him, which was absolutely crazy, you guys. And so anyways, after Burger Barn, we did not have time to do another ride after that because Dorney has like limited hours this season. And so, anyways, that concluded our day at Dorney Park by us just strolling around the upper midway, getting footage of rides and stuff. And so, anyways, that concludes this review of July 8th, 2020 at Dorney Park. Reply to me your thoughts on this video, and make sure to stay tuned for a lot more Dorney visits coming this year, where I will do reviews of them and other parks too. And I will see you in the next